What's going on? I am Vinny Patella. Welcome to the Sports Dummies. This is the divisional round prediction. We're gonna do a little bit of that, some other things, but we're gonna get into these divisional game predictions. See if I can keep up with last week. Last week I was 2 for 2. Not many. I don't think were 4 for 4, especially that Vikings game. The Vikings probably were the lock last week, and they ended up coming out with a loss. Speaking of the Vikings, let's get into their game this week. They the number 1 seed 49ers. Looking at a little bit of these stats here. This is definitely, I think, I don't know, we got another good week of games. I'm sitting here looking at these games. They're all, I think, to be close except for the Kansas City Houston game. But as far as the 49ers Vikings game, the 49ers are 13th in the league in passing yards per game. The Vikings are 23rd. The Vikings' pass defense is also not nearly as good as the 49ers. They average almost a whole 50 plus yards, 60 plus yards per game. They allow. The big thing that comes to this game, and my big issue I'm going to have with picking the 49ers here, is the youth of Jimmy G. I just think youth doesn't prevail in playoff games. He's got a really good team around him and a really, really good defense, and that's the only way I see them pulling this one out. This game is just as bad as much of a coin toss as I think you could get. I think the youth X factor comes in, though. I think Jimmy G makes a couple big mistakes that end up costing him this game. The other X factor I have going into this would be Dalvin Cook to help out Kirk Cousins, because I don't know if Kirk Cousins can really shine again. He's not a known quarterback to perform at that level, and to perform at that level back-to-back weeks in prime-time, big-time games. I don't know if he can do it again. If he can do it again, I think I have them winning, and I do think he can do it again. I think the Vikings knocking off the best team in the NFC last week. My thoughts are the best team in the NFC, because they're not. The 49ers are the number 1 seed, but I thought the best team going into this playoffs out of the NFC on paper was definitely the Saints, and the Vikings beat them. I see them beating the 49ers again. Or not again, but I see them winning again, beating the 49ers. So, yeah, I got that game 24-17 Vikings. I think it'll be really, really close, like I said, but I definitely think I'm taking the Vikings for that game. Next is the Seahawks and the Packers. This game, I think, is the lock of the week. I don't think that this game can be flip the other way around. I just don't. Looking at the stats here, the big difference maker is Seattle's ability to run the ball. They average 137.5 yards per game, where Green Bay averages 112 yards per 0.2 yards a game. But the difference maker is that the Seahawks are banged up in the run game. Seattle also lets up a lot of touchdowns to running backs. I just think Green Bay's in Lambeau. Seattle struggled last week versus a practice squad in the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't see them being able to make a run to win this game versus a Green Bay team that wins, but ugly, but they win. I had the final 28-20 Green Bay. That is a lock. I don't think that there's a way. My lock last week didn't go well either, but this is definitely my lock for this week. This is probably the only time I think I've done this. The X factor of this game probably is Russell Wilson. The only reason I say that, I usually don't have a X factor from the losing team. But the only reason why I'm going with this is because the only way Seattle does somehow pull this off is Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson shines like we've seen him in the past do, they can win this game. But I don't think so. Like I said, 28-20, it's another close game. And I think I'm being nice, to be honest with you. I think you can go 27 or 28-14, 27-14. I think Seattle gets taken care of relatively easily by the Packers. Moving on to the AFC games, the Ravens and Titans game. This one was a tough one. I think I changed my prediction on this one 3 or 4 times this week. The Looking at these stats, defensively, the Titans' biggest difference is they allow 250 yards passing per game. Ravens 207. It's a 50-yard differential. But when you look at, now we flip it over to the offensive side of the ball, the Ravens are 27th in passing offense with 201 yards a game. So that is 50 yards less they average than what the Titans usually average to let up per game. The Titans aren't much better in the passing game, though. They are 21st, allowing 223.9 yards per game. But I think the Titans' passing attack is better than the Ravens. The running attack is the difference maker. Now, this is absurd, but the Titans are third with 138.9 yards per game, and the Ravens are only second, but with 206 yards per game, they're first. It is crazy to look at that stat because 206 yards, the second team in the league is, I believe, 144 yards per game in rushing. So they are almost, 66 yards? No, 72 yards more per game than the second leading rushing team in the league, which that's, in my opinion, that's unbelievable. That is unreal. But here's what my thoughts come into this game and the things that I tossed and turned on. Tannehill's ability to make the throws again. He did it last week. Granted, I said last week on the recap, Tannehill made some big mistakes at times that almost gave New England the chance to win it, but the difference maker there, I believe, is the week of, okay, we're through the playoffs, we beat New England, a little bit more confidence builder. I don't know if the Titans defense can consistently stop Lamar. He can score at any time. The concern I have for the Ravens offense is Ingram's banged up. And this leads into my X factor for the week, for this game, is Vrabel. A very good, strong-minded defensive coach is your head coach. I can imagine he has these guys prepared with a really, really, really good game plan defensively to stop Lamar, and I think that leads them into a win. I have Titans 21-20, but I would not be surprised if that game goes the other way. It's going to be a super, super close game, I think. Low scoring, a lot of obviously running. Derrick Henry, to be able to run and get 8 yards a carry, I mean, I don't know what his exact stat line is. I had it for last week, but I mean, for him to do what he did last week versus the Patriots, if he can replicate something close to that versus the Ravens, I think that gives him the edge to steal this game. It's definitely a steal because the Titans are not they're not even, in my opinion, they would be the last team I would expect to win. If these seedings went a little differently, I think they could. I don't know if they win, but I think they have the right formula to beat the Ravens. I think minus Kansas City, I think they, even including Kansas City, they might have the best formula, the ability to run the ball, keep Lamar off the field, and a really, really, really good, strong-minded defensive coach and your coordinator. There's no other team in the AFC with that left. So, like I said, I think the Titans have the chance to pull off an upset here. Moving on to the last game, the Texans and the Chiefs. This probably should have been my lock, but looking at the stats, it made it really, 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 really tough. The biggest one is the difference in pass defense, or the similarities, I should say, in the pass defense. There's only like a 40-yard difference between the two. And then there are two opposite ends of the spectrums in teams. The Texans offense, they're 9th in rushing. The Chiefs are 23rd in rushing. The Texans are 15th in passing, and Kansas City's 5th in passing. Andy Reid doesn't lose off of a bye week, and I don't think he's losing losing off of a bye week this week. He's too consistent coming off of a bye. The guys are coming off of rest. The defense has gotten a lot better from last year to this year, and that's a difference maker. I think I see coming into this. As far as an X factor in this game, I think it just has to go with Kansas City's ability to run the football well. I have this 31-20 Kansas City. I think it could be even worse. I'm not 100% sure yet. But it's definitely I definitely have Kansas City. I don't know if it's going to be close. I think Kansas City has the ability to blow them out. Watt, how banged up he is, but that's kind of where I see these games this week. Hopefully, I do a little do just as good or do better than last week. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys soon.